Well, hey, what is going on? It is so exciting to have you be a part of our house groups. Whether it's your first week or whether it's your second week, I just want to say thank you for choosing to intentionally engage. I just think that we're all better, including myself, when we have people around us who can help encourage, who can help motivate, who can help walk alongside us in moments of challenge and difficulty. And so I just want to say thank you for being willing to be in community. I know that it's a sacrifice, and I just want to say that I believe in what we're doing and in the importance of spending time together, connecting in community with each other. And so we just got done with week 2 of The Last Arrow. And man, can I just say, by the way, like this has been such an amazing season. God has just been at work, and I'm so thankful for all of you who volunteer and who serve, for those of you who give of your time and of your finances. It's just been amazing. We have had more new people that have come through the doors over the last few weeks than we have in a really long stretch. And people that are returning and people that are excited. It's been amazing and awesome. So thank you. I just believe that the best is yet to come. And so we just got done with week 2 of The Last Arrow, and kind of the whole premise that we have in this series is that at the end of our life, we don't want to get to a place where we look back and think about all the what ifs, but where we give literally everything that we have to God. And so in week 2 of The Last Arrow, we looked at the story of the call of Elisha. And in the story of the call of Elisha, we discover that Elisha is out plowing his field. His identity for his entire life has been a farmer. And so Elijah, who's the prophet at the time, who, by the way, is a little bit more well-known biblically than Elisha is, walks alongside Elijah, and he throws his mantle over his shoulder. And there's significance in that mantle because the significance is that he is calling Elisha to follow him, asking him to leave his life as he knows it behind and enter into something new. And Elisha in that moment makes a really crazy decision. He decides that he's going to follow. But what I love that scripture points out is that he said, or that it points out that he actually had to run after Elijah in order to catch up to him. I think sometimes God walks alongside us, throws his mantle over our shoulder, asks us to follow him, and when we don't, he just continues on. And it doesn't mean that God isn't walking alongside us. It doesn't mean that he's not working. But what it does mean is that you and I miss out on opportunities because we allow God to continue to move. And so Elisha makes this decision, but when he does, he literally has to run after Elijah in order to catch up. But when they do catch up, he makes the radical decision to set his past on fire. In fact, scripture records, as you have heard it before, that he burns his plow, that he kills his oxen, that he brings the community together, and they all eat of this meat, and he goes and he follows after Elijah. And in choosing to burn his plow and choosing to kill and slaughter his oxen, he makes the choice that he has nothing to come back to. And I think that if you and I are going to follow after God, that we need to set some things on our past on fire. And I think oftentimes there's two groups of people that we run into when we think about this idea of setting our past on fire. The first group of people are those who you look at your life right now and you're like, come on, like it's good. My life is fine. There's nothing from my past that really haunts me. There's nothing that is major that I'm facing. If I'm being honest, like the good old days are today. Like I'm living, I'm in the midst of it. But I think that comfort, I think convenience, I think being complacent in our faith can be one of the most challenging and dangerous positions that you and I can enter into. We don't call it those things. We call it things like, or we just say safety, we say comfort, we say convenience. I misspoke there, imperfect church for imperfect people, but we give ourselves an out. We call it a plan B. That's what I wanted to say. We call it a plan B, and so we call it things like comfort and convenience, safety, a responsibility, security, just living a normal life. But I believe that as long as you and I have a contingency to go back, then backwards is where we will always end up. Whenever God taps our shoulder, it is going to require decisive action. And so that first group of people are those who look at your life and you say, man, everything is good. And the danger becomes when God throws his mantle on our shoulder, do we have the courage to follow, the humility to listen, and the willingness to obey? And then there's that second group of people that you look at your life and you're like, man, I'd do anything. I'd do anything for a do-over. And maybe it's holding on to things that are a woundedness that you have, brokenness that you've experienced, something that has happened in your past that you believe defines you. And maybe it's a sin issue that you've tried so hard to free yourself of, and you just can't seem to let go of whatever it is that you're struggling with. And I think for that second group, those of you who are desperate to be free, that for whatever reason we hold on. I used this verse yesterday, but Ephesians chapter 1, verse 7 says, in him we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of sins in accordance to the riches of God's grace. I love how that lays it out. And so no matter how dark it is, it's time to stop looking back and it's time to start looking forward. And so my hope is that as you guys have some discussion tonight, that you talk about maybe some areas or some places that you need to set your past on fire, the places that God has been speaking to you. We are better together. And so thank you for being willing to choose to intentionally engage. And my hope and my prayer is that as a community, as individuals and as a church, that when God throws his mantle over our shoulders, that we respond with a yes, and that we burn our plows to ensure that we will never go back.